Around 3:00 a.m., something tore their tent from the inside. 9 experienced Soviet hikers, deep in the Ural Mountains, vanished in February 1959. What began as a routine expedition turned into one of history's most chilling and enduring mysteries, leaving behind a scene of unspeakable horror and unanswered questions. The group, led by Igor Dyatlov, was on a challenging winter trek to Arorten Mountain. All were skilled, young, and fit students from the Ural Polytechnical Institute, their spirits high as they set out from Sverdlovsk. Their journey began with 11, but 2 members turned back due to illness, a decision that would ultimately save their lives. Yuri Yudin, suffering from sciatica, departed on January 28th, never to see his friends again. The remaining 9 pressed on, their route taking them through dense forests and across frozen rivers. Their goal, Arorten, meant "don't go there" in the local Mansi language, a foreboding detail that would later fuel dark speculation. The last confirmed contact was a postcard sent by Dyatlov on January 31st. They planned to reach Arorten and return to a village called Vizhai by February 12th. When they didn't, an alarm was raised. Rescue teams, including students, military, and local Mansi hunters, began their search. Days turned into a week, then more. The vast, unforgiving landscape offered no clues. On February 26th, a student search party made a horrifying discovery. The group's tent, partially buried in snow on the eastern slope of Kalat Siak, or Dead Mountain, as the Mansi called it. The tent was a scene of chaos. It had been cut open from the inside, a desperate, frantic act. Belongings were scattered, but the hikers' boots and most of their warm clothing remained inside. Footprints led away from the tent, a trail of bare or sock-clad feet heading down the slope towards a nearby forest. 9 sets of prints, slowly disappearing under the fresh snowfall. 2 bodies were found first, beneath a large cedar tree nearly a mile from the tent. Yuri Krivonishenko and Yuri Doroshenko, dressed only in their underwear, their hands scraped and bruised, a small fire nearby. The next 3 bodies, including Dyatlov, were discovered between the cedar tree and the tent, suggesting they'd been attempting to return. Their postures indicated they had simply collapsed from hypothermia. Months passed before the remaining 4 were found, buried under 15 feet of snow in a ravine, some 75 meters deeper into the forest. This is where the mystery deepened considerably. These 4 had sustained horrific injuries. Lyudmila Dubinina's tongue was missing. Semyon Zolotaryov had crushed ribs and a fractured skull. Nikolay Thiborg-Sprignol's also had a fractured skull. Crucially, there were no external wounds indicating a struggle or attack. It was as if immense force had been applied internally, a sudden, violent impact without any external sign of contact. Adding to the strangeness, some of their clothing contained traces of radiation, though not enough to be lethal or explain their deaths. The source of this radiation was never definitively identified. The official Soviet investigation concluded that the hikers died from an unknown compelling force. The case was quickly closed, and the files sealed, sparking decades of speculation and conspiracy theories. One prominent theory suggests a paradoxical undressing due to hypothermia, where victims become disoriented and remove their clothes, feeling intensely hot. This might explain the lack of warm clothing. Another theory points to an avalanche. A small slab avalanche could have startled them, forcing them to cut their way out of the tent in a panic. But the terrain wasn't typical avalanche territory. The Mansi people, local to the region, were initially suspected, but quickly cleared. Their culture revered the mountains, and they had no history of violence against outsiders. Their knowledge of the land, however, was vast. More exotic theories include infrasound, low-frequency sound waves generated by wind patterns that could induce panic and disorientation, or even a secret military experiment gone wrong, hence the radiation. Some even propose a run-in with a Yeti or other unknown creature. The raw fear, the dismemberment of one victim, the internal injuries all contribute to a sense of something truly monstrous. In 2019, the Russian prosecutor's office reopened the case. concluding in 2020 that a combination of a rare slab avalanche and poor visibility caused by a katabatic wind was the most probable explanation. They suggested the hikers cut their tent to escape the avalanche, then fled into the cold, succumbing to hypothermia. The injuries were attributed to falling into the ravine in the darkness. Yet for many, this explanation still feels incomplete. The specific nature of the injuries, the radiation, the frantic tent exit the Dyatlov Pass incident remains a chilling testament to the mountain's unforgiving power and the enduring human quest for answers. Uncover another chilling disappearance next time by ensuring you're subscribed.